in the world is that?
Okay, well, this is a dinner. I'm not sure what to call it, that I made for Jackson, Lila, Zach, and Tori. And it's kind of like a...
You can call it a Roloff dinner.
Oh, call it... Jackson is saying that I should call it a roll-off dinner. Hey, hi everyone. I'm Amy Roloff, and I'm in my little kitchen. So anyway, I am making a casserole dish for Zach and Tori. I'm going over their house today to see them and the grandkids. Tori is still pregnant, so she hasn't had the baby yet, so I thought I'd come over and just kind of hang out with them for a little bit and bring them a meal. So I am making what I would call, I don't know what I'm gonna name this. It's a version of that king chicken tortilla casserole type of thing. And so that is what I'm gonna make. I think they'll really enjoy it. It's kind of like a Tex Mex, but it's also got this nice, really creamy sauce to it, and chicken and all of that other good stuff. So let's see what happens. Because I'm going over their house, I found this pan. I chose this pan. It's kind of like a cake pan, but I liked it because it had smoother sides instead of all the ripple sides that you find for, you know, aluminum, disposable, whatever containers. So I'll lightly spray this with cooking spray. I have about 18 corn tortillas. I'm not sure I'm gonna need all of them, but I thought I'd get enough ready. Because what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut these maybe in quarters. That way when you scoop it out, you get these nice little chewy corn tortillas and not one big one that just kind of slips away from everything. And so that we'll layer that. We'll layer it with the chicken mixture along with the sauce and some of the veggies. And then we'll put cheese over that, and we'll do a little bit of chicken broth and layer it again. And so I'm really anxious to see this because it's been a while. It seems like all of the things I've cooked have been a while since I've made them, and I'm not quite sure why. Maybe because just being on my own and stuff like that. Obviously, I'm not gonna make a big 9x13 dish anymore. But now that my kids are grown, they're married, they've got kids, they've kind of some are in the area, some are moved away, and I'm married now, that I'm getting back to maybe making bigger dishes because I enjoy them, and I also like to share, especially if they're not able to come over to the house. So in this sauce, I've got how much? 6 tablespoons of flour, 6 tablespoons of butter. We're gonna add in 2 cups. I did 1 cup of milk and 1 cup of half and half. I think for me, just it's more creamier, richer of a sauce. You can go ahead and use 2 cups of milk. That's perfectly fine. But I chose 1 cup of half and half and 1 cup of regular milk. Where did my chicken thing go? And then I'm going to use, is this one open? Yeah. Then I'm going to use 1 cup of chicken stock. I did low sodium chicken stock. If you've got any on hand that you want to use for this dish, go ahead, but I think anything store-bought will work out fine. Then what else do I have here? I'm going to stick in a half a cup of black beans, a half a cup of corn. Because, you know, this is kind of like a, I don't know, Tex Mex Chicken Casserole. I'm not sure what I'm going to name it. But I did read King Ranch Chicken Casserole really got kind of created or started with this version of this dish because there is really a real life King Ranch, and that is out of Texas. So that's why I think if you go on, Google it and all, a lot of people have named their dish, their version of it, King Ranch. But I think I'll probably just name this I don't know, Tex Mex Chicken Casserole, but listen, whatever. Then I have 1 can of fire roasted tomatoes. I have 1 onion chopped. I have, just because I didn't have enough red pepper, but I do have half of a red pepper and a little more than 1 green pepper chopped. I'm gonna put in a little bit of heat, even though I have 1 can of green chilies. You can add other jalapeno or whatever you like it a little more spicier. Because I'm making this for Zach and Tori and the kids, I didn't want to overpower it. And I don't like my food over spice. But I'm gonna I'm gonna add some red pepper flakes. And for my spices here, I have about 1 tablespoon of chili powder, about 2 tablespoons maybe of cumin, and at least 1 tablespoon of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of cumin, and about a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more of oregano. I'm gonna see how that all goes. So let's get going here. And chicken, what about the chicken? I've got chicken happening over here. You can use rotisserie chicken. That works out great too. It saves time, but I had chicken available, so I'm using chicken breast. I've got 3 chicken breasts, 3 large chicken breasts over here, and I'm kind of like poaching them. I kind of sauteed them, just slightly browned them on both sides, and then I put in a bunch of liquid. Because I wanted that flavor, I did go ahead and add chicken broth to it. So poaching is obviously you're cooking it in a liquid-based thing. And that way they'll cook through, and I'm hoping it'll shred okay, because if not, I'm cutting it up in fine little chunks. So let's get going. I've got to get going on the sauce because this has got to go in the oven here in about 15 minutes in order for me to pack it up all in time to head on over to Zach and Tori and my grandkids' house. This will be the flour, the butter, and the milk over here, onions, just what I told you. Anyway, what I have going on over here, let me get my stool here going. This will be where the sauce is, but this is what I mean by the chicken. I better turn that down because I don't want it to boil. But this is like almost done. But this is even a nice rich sauce. So I'll kind of break that up, shred it, and I think that'll be enough chicken. I hope it's 2 cups, at least 2 cups. In fact, I'm just gonna turn it off and let it sit there. So let's get going on the sauce here. Okay, one thing I did forget to do, I forgot to mince up my garlic. So before I get going on the sauce, I'm gonna kind of finely chop as best I can my garlic here. So I think this is going to be, oh yeah, did I say that I'm also with this nice, creamy, cheesy topping and sauce. I'm gonna add in about 4 ounces of cream cheese. I just thought that would add in a little bit more richness, flavor. Give it that slight little tang to it. So we'll see. Let me get this going here. Chopping up the garlic for the sauce. I like a white sauce. Okay, I think that's enough. So now let's go over there and cook the sauce. Okay, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna add in the 6 tablespoons of butter. Get that all melted. And I think if you use unsalted butter, just make sure you put just a little bit of salt in it. Because even though the cream cheese will add a little bit of salt, you want some flavor to it as well. We're just gonna wait till this melts. And then we will add in, oops, wait, I forgot my flour. Did I? Oh no, here's my flour. It was hiding behind the milk. And basically what this is a basic white sauce. Just gonna melt this. Got my whisk ready. Okay, we're gonna add in the 6 tablespoons of flour. we want this to cook a few minutes just to take out that floury taste and give kind of like a nutty flavor. So cook for at least, I don't know, 30 seconds, a minute, just so that the flour absorbs the butter and that it's cooked. You don't want it to turn brown because then your sauce will have that little tinge of brown color. So yeah, you just want it, if you can see that, hopefully you can. Okay, I'm just gonna give it a few more minutes. Bring you guys over here for a sec. I keep stirring it so I don't have it turn brown, or burn, I should say burn. So let's see if I can do this with one hand holding the video. I'm just gonna add a little bit of this, quickly whisk it. And then you'll want it to cook for a couple of minutes at least until it thickens. I'm gonna add in the rest of the milk. Bring it to a very low boil, very low. And then quickly turn it back down because you don't want the sauce to burn on the bottom. Whoa. Okay, we'll wait till this thickens up. Okay, I wanted to show you this. This sauce is very thick. And I'm gonna go ahead and add in, I've got 1 cup here, and tell you the truth, I took the chicken stock from over here to put into the sauce. I thought that would create definitely some depth of flavor. And adjust your sauce to the consistency you want, but you don't want it runny. You do want it somewhat thick. And a simpler way that or quicker way, I should say, that what you can do too, is add in use a can of cream of chicken. But because I'm here, I wanted to make my own sauce. So I'm gonna give it a little taste, because I did add in what the chicken was cooking in, because it was really stock, a little bit of olive oil and butter. Yeah, I definitely want a little bit of more salt in here. A little bit of pepper. I'm gonna go ahead and add in this 4 ounces of cream cheese. Get that melted in here. That'll create some really good richness as well. And I think I'm gonna add in just a little bit more of the chicken stock. And then this will be almost done. Then the next thing we're gonna do is saute the green peppers and the onions and the red pepper. Then I'm gonna shred the chicken, and we're gonna get this casserole going. Okay, I think that's very, very good. Add in a little bit more of that. I don't know, you can use canned stuff, but since I had the time, I like making my own sauce. But a can of cream of chicken soup goes great in here. And then if you wanted to have more sauce or make it thicker, I would add 2 cans of cream of chicken soup and then break it up, loosen it up with either some chicken broth or a little bit of water. Okay, there we go. Let's get going with sauteing the other veggies and shredding the chicken. I'm gonna go ahead and get another pan, but I've got my peppers here, my onions. I forgot to saute the garlic with the butter and the flour, so we're just gonna do it with the onions and the green pepper. There we go. Just gonna drizzle some oil in this pan here. Get that heated up. Then we're gonna go ahead and add this. I'm gonna wait on the garlic because I don't want the garlic to burn, but I do want it to cook. Let's wait till that pan gets heated up. Let's see if I can shred this chicken without having to cut up. I had to wait till the chicken. Yeah, you just want to pull it apart. And like I said, another easier way to do this is just to buy a rotisserie chicken from the store. But of course, I want to take the harder way. So I'm just going to kind of pull this apart. So I'm going to finish up shredding this chicken. I have a feeling this is going to take me probably about 10 minutes to do. Let me have a piece of it. Oh yeah, so good. So good. Okay, I'll see you back in a few minutes. I'm shredding chicken. Okay, here comes the fun part. Sorry, I needed a drink of water. I'm gonna combine some of these ingredients here with the chicken, and then we're gonna start layering this. So I've got the green onions and the pepper and the red pepper. No, not green onions. Green pepper, onions, garlic, and red pepper. We got that, and then we have the half a cup of corn, half a cup of black beans, one little small can, I think it's 4 ounces of chopped jalapeno, chopped green chilies. Then I'm gonna debate, let's add in the spices and mix this in. So I'm gonna add in the cumin, the chili powder, just a little bit of smoked paprika and oregano. And we'll see if I need any more. Let's see here. Mix this all up. Now I have 3 breasts of chicken. It's more than the 2 cups I wanted, but I'm hoping it'll be okay, because if not, this will make a great chicken taco or little soft taco mixture. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and add in a little bit of this tomatoes. This is canned fire roasted tomatoes, and it's about 14.5 ounces, but let's see how much I add. I'm gonna add half of it. Oops. And shredding the chicken did take about 10 minutes. And if you don't want to use it with your fork, pull it apart with your hands. Just make sure you wash your hands afterwards. Yeah, I'm gonna add in the whole can. Fire roasted tomatoes, or you can just use regular can of tomatoes. And if I have any, well, Chris doesn't like corn, but it's not that much corn in here. But if I have any left over of this meat, this will make great little tacos. Okay, we have that all mixed in. I don't know if I need that cheese. I'm going to go ahead. Let me get a new knife. I don't know where all my knives went. Well, golly gee, I don't know where all my knives went, you guys. So we are going to just use this knife. Like I said, I have 18 corn tortillas. Oh, you know what I'm gonna use? I don't have a knife, I'm just gonna use this. My pizza cutter, because I can't even find where my scraper thing is. So see, we're just gonna cut them into little triangles. So that way when you dish it up, they're more in bite-sized pieces instead of this one big piece of corn tortilla that you get. This just makes it a little bit easier. There we go. I'm not sure if I'm gonna need these, but I'm gonna have them ready. Okay, let's get ready and layer our dish here. I'm gonna put that over here. I'm gonna lightly spray this so the food doesn't stick to this. And then we'll get our sauce over here and we'll start layering. I'm gonna try and bring you guys up a little closer. Hopefully you can still see me. So what we're gonna do is just layer these, and feel free to overlap them. That's the whole point. Just gonna layer this way first. I'm gonna get that good first base. You really don't want any of the metal pieces showing. Up this. There we go. But you also don't want to layer it too thick, because this is all supposed to get a little soft. Okay, what should I do first? I think I'm gonna go and lay my chicken. No, I think I'm gonna lay the sauce first. I don't know, I've debated how I want to layer this because I want the sauce to be incorporated in everything. So I think I'm gonna go and layer the chicken. This is gonna be a lot of food for them, I think, but you know what? This is a great dish for leftovers. And just to reiterate what's all in here, feel free to use a rotisserie chicken. Okay, there we go. Now we're just gonna drizzle this sauce, kind of spread it all over. Okay. Okay, I did add in a little bit of chicken broth to my sauce because I felt like it was a little bit too thick. You want to be able to spread this and definitely have enough to go around. Probably should have used a spatula with this. There we go. This will be a little better. Okay, and then we'll layer it with cheese. First of all, I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of a chicken broth over it because you definitely wanna keep this somewhat moist as it cooks. So definitely have extra chicken broth or chicken stock on hand. Because even though you use a little bit to cook with, okay, that is our first layer. So I'm gonna finish up the rest of this. Hang on. There, we got that layer down. I'm just gonna gently press on it. We're gonna get the rest of our chicken here. Chicken mixture. Just use another fork or even your hands just to kind of help spread it a little bit. One thing I love casseroles, obviously they feed a lot of people, but they're also so good the next day when all the flavors have had a chance to cook and marry each other and just mingle and just be friends. And here I thought 3 breasts of chicken was going to be too much, but I think this was just right. Okay. Okay, there we go. Make sure it's all evened out. Okay. I'm going to scoop the remainder of the sauce. There might be a little bit more on top than the bottom because I was afraid of running out, but it doesn't look like it. I'm just going to use the back of this spatula and hopefully just smooth it out so it gets all over everything. Then we're just going to add a little more chicken broth just to kind of help the moisture along a little bit. About a 1/4 cup on the top and the bottom. There we go. Then it looks like I might have to grate up a little more cheese here. So I'm going to go ahead and grate up a little more cheese. Then we're going to pop this into the oven, 375 degrees. I'm going to grate some of this cheese here. So like I said, some of the shortcuts you can use, rotisserie chicken for one. You can use 2 cans of cream of chicken soup. Dilute it just a little bit to the consistency that you want with chicken stock, chicken broth. Let's see, what else? Yeah, that's about it because I took the time to cook chicken. I took the time to make the sauce, but easy steps, cream of chicken soup. And I'll put that in the recipe as options for you guys. So once you cook this, and obviously your cheese will melt, have a little bit of extra grated cheese on the side, because once the cheese starts melting a little bit, to finish baking it, just add a little bit of foil. That way it'll continue to cook. So like I said, 375 degrees for about 30, maybe 40 minutes, but 30 minutes may, check on it at 30 minutes, but it may take as long as 40 minutes to bake. So here we go. Whew. Now I wonder if I should make a quick batch of chocolate chip cookies for them. I don't know. I like it. Maybe it's just for me, and I'll share with them. Okay, hi you guys. What should I call this? Like Tex Mex Chicken Casserole, or maybe just a tortilla chicken casserole. But anyway, it is done. I'm ready to head on over to Zach and Tori's house. I'm a little bit late, so I think I will give this a try over there. But you can serve this with sour cream, avocado, maybe sprinkle some tomatoes on top of here too, or have that as a side thing. But I just put on a little bit of extra cheese, sprinkled it with some cilantro, or if you don't like that, some parsley, and you are ready to go. This is gonna be a wonderful, wonderful casserole dish. So I'll give it a taste when I'm over there, because I'm running late. So thank you for being in my little kitchen with me. Go to Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen, or my YouTube channel. Oh my goodness. Thank you for being in my little kitchen with me. Go to Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen or my YouTube channel. You can find this recipe, find the video, and make this wonderful, lovely casserole dish. In fact, this will be great in May for Cinco de Mayo, and because it's got all of those really good flavors in it, but it's combined in a casserole. So thanks for being here, and I'll put an ending to this because I've got to taste this. It's been a while. Bye. Here I am in my kitchen, and look at that little guy over there.
Is this much?
I think that's a good amount of cheese, don't you? Jackson's helping me make a salad.
What in the world is that?
Okay, well, this is a dinner. I'm not sure what to call it, that I made for Jackson, Lila, Zach, and Tori. And it's kind of like a...
You can call it a Roloff dinner.
Oh, call it... Jackson is saying that I should call it a roll-off dinner. Awesome.
It's Roloff.
Roll-off.
Roloffs.
Okay, let's see what we've got here. So I'm pretty excited. Oh, what's that? Oh, you want some more water or milk? Look at that, you guys. Isn't that good? I'll just give them a little bit, so hopefully they like it. Mm. Okay, I better get a knife.
Baby.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you the water and milk here in a sec.
There we go.
I'm just gonna cut it up for you guys, okay?
Not the gray bowl is for me. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna call this like a Tex Mex lasagna. Should have probably done
I'm
two
stopping once you say so.
Okay, you can stop. Well, I'm here to finish up the recipe for my spinach pie with using phyllo dough, which I absolutely love. It provides a nice little crunch. paper thin, but you get so much of that great goodness from the spinach mixture. So anyway, obviously Chris and I liked it because it's almost all done. Hi you guys, I'm Amy Roloff, and thank you so much for joining me in my little kitchen. Tell you the truth, it's been a while since I've been in my kitchen because Chris and I have been under the weather with some really bad sinus colds lately. So I am finally getting back to it. I feel so much better. And of course, this is my happy place. So we're already in the middle or towards the end of, well, kind of in the middle of spring, and an exciting time it is. So or towards the end of spring, 2/3, whatever. So I thought for a very light meal for us, because we really haven't been doing a whole lot, and I'm hoping I don't put on too much weight, because that's not a good thing. Anyway, we are going to make spinach pie. It has been a long time since I've done this dish as well, and I always remember making a similar variation of this into little appetizer things. I remember my mom doing that when they would host their monthly pinochle card game with some friends and everything. I know that my mom would make some of those, and in turn I've made them over the years, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to actually make a little spinach pie or baked spinach pie, whatever you may call it. I may call it spinach pie, I don't know, but it's not exactly in a pie dish. However, you could put it in a pie dish and cut it up like a pie. I chose to do this small little baking dish because it's only Chris and I. Excuse me. It's only Chris and I. And so if you want to double this recipe from what you see on the video or the recipe that I put out there with this video, feel free to double it, because obviously this is going to be more than we can eat in a night. But hey, leftovers are pretty good. So let's get going and make some spinach pie. And by the way, you know what? I can't remember. I was going to say something. I was going to say that spinach is one of those leafy vegetables that you could get earlier than some of your other vegetables during the summer. So if you have any fresh spinach, I would suggest that you just, well, let me get to that later. Let's get going and just make spinach pie. Okay, let's get going and make some spinach pie in Amy's little kitchen. You can use this with frozen spinach, and I think most people do that because that allows you to make, it's less expensive, and you can make this any time of the year. I just chose it right now because it's a lighter dish. It's full of those great vitamins that you get from spinach. I happen to have one big bag of spinach right here. It's 10 ounces. So if you want to double this recipe, I would go at least 2 of those big bags, maybe 2.5, depending on what you want. I'm hoping this will be enough. So I chose that bag of spinach. Or I've made these little spinach appetizers, and I bought the big leafy spinach. And what I did is, I took the stems off, and then I just chopped up the, see, even Chris is coughing. I just chopped up those spinach leaves into, smaller like pieces, not minced, but just chopped them up. So I've already prepared this. This is phyllo dough, very thin, paper thin. I forgot how easily it tears. So I got a bunch of it right here. I've got a slightly damp paper towel over it just to keep it moist and not dried out. I'll lift this up. I laid a layer in here. I buttered the dish, laid my first layer, buttered that, laid the next, buttered that. So I have probably about 7 layers in here, 6, 7, something like that. Because you really want it, to create a base. And I'll do the same thing for the top. So what else do I have going on here? Oh, Well, my onions have browned a little bit, but I think that'll be okay. You can put more onion in it, but I have half of an onion chopped and I browned it. I'm just keeping it warm over here. I'm going to turn that up a little bit. And then I have 3 cloves of garlic. Well, 4, but I'll probably just, these are large, so I may only chop up 2. So I'd say anywhere from 2 to 3 cloves of garlic for this amount of spinach pie that I'm using. I'm gonna break up this feta cheese to maybe about 1/3 of a cup, maybe half. I'm gonna say probably 1/3. So let me get that out. My handy dandy measuring cups. So this is 1/3. I'm gonna see how that goes. I have 3 eggs here. I may only use 2, but I've got 3. I'm gonna season the spinach and everything with a little bit of nutmeg. I don't know, maybe a half a teaspoon of dill and a little bit of oregano. The one thing I forgot was parsley. I'm gonna do a little bit of pine nuts. And then I have a little bit of kind of more chunkier ricotta cheese. It wasn't as smooth as I had thought, but I think it'll still work. This is a little much. I don't need all of this, so I only need maybe a half a cup, 1/3 to a half. And then a little bit of breadcrumbs. Did I forget anything? Let's get to work, people. Let's get this meal going here, okay? All right, are you with me? I hope you are with me. As I was mentioning, if I can, I'd like to use fresh spinach. And all I did here was I just wilted it under, where's my knife? Huh, I gotta get a different knife. Sorry about that, I didn't get a knife or the proper one. I like to wilt my, I like using fresh spinach. And so if you use the big leafy one, chop it up, just run it under really hot water just for a few minutes and you'll see it. This whole bowl was full of that whole 10-ounce bag. And I just put very hot water over this and just kind of let it steam, cook a little bit, drained it. Very much, whether it's frozen or fresh, make sure you squeeze as much water out of your spinach as possible, because too much water obviously won't bake everything together. It'll be a little soupy or whatever. So, okay. I don't know if you guys can see this at all. This is for my phone. I got garlic. Okay, I'm gonna chop up 2 garlics. 2 garlic cloves. Tell you the truth, I'd probably put 3 in there, but you know, I don't want it to overpower of garlic. And a little, and you need a little salt and pepper too. But yeah, I didn't want to overpower the garlic, so 2 garlic cloves, I think it'll be enough. Get it all chopped up as finely as I can. Sometimes when I chop like this, the garlic goes all over the place. I don't know why it does that sometimes. Onions or other things, when you hit it wrong and suddenly it's somewhere else on the counter. So I have 2 cloves of garlic here. And really this is all about, and I'm gonna put this in with the onions so that these can cook a little bit. And if you need a little more oil when you're cooking it, just add a little bit more oil, but I think I've got enough moisture in here. So I'm just gonna stir that around a little bit and then continue cooking the onions and the garlic. Just until the garlic is a little aromatic, you can smell it, you know it's kind of being infused with the onions and stuff. So I'm gonna save these 2 garlics. Let me break up my feta cheese here, because I don't want too big of a chunks. And then I already got crumbled feta cheese. If you buy a whole thing of feta cheese, just, you know, kind of break it up, slice it, chop it up. Just gonna try and get a oh, I see. I've got a bowl in here already. Anyway, so we're just gonna break up the feta cheese here. I know Chris and I have really just been hanging around the house for the whole week. Man, you'd think we were in lockdown again. It's just one of those things. You just didn't feel like going anywhere. I'm just glad it's been rainy and cloudy, so I haven't missed any real good weather. But I did get out there and go for a little walk here and there because, I don't know, when you're not feeling very well, there's nothing like good old fresh air. Okay, how much do I have here? Trying to look at my, I have at least a third. Okay, almost a third. I'm just gonna break up some more. These bigger chunks would be great for like a Mediterranean salad, which kind of, this whole, I don't know how to pronounce the one word that's a Greek word for this dish, spinach pie. Starts with the letter S, but this is kind of a traditional Greek dish. And it's, I remember making this as a kid. This has been around for a long, long time. This dish, I remember this so much. Okay, this is about a third of a cup. I think that'll be enough. Okay, I'm gonna kind of get all my stuff together because we're gonna mix all of this together. So let me put this aside. I'll just put that over there. I gotta try and make sure my phyllo dough doesn't, okay, I've got that. My onion's already done. I'm gonna go ahead and add in some of my herbs. So I'm just gonna sprinkle some in. I'm gonna say 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of oregano. Yes, oh my gosh, I hope I did get the right thing. About 1/2 teaspoon of dill. If I had fresh dill, I would have used fresh dill in there and just chopped it up, but I don't, so I'm using dried. I think spinach and fresh dill is good. I don't know, 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of that. Depends on what you'd like. Now I want to be careful on the nutmeg because nutmeg can be very powerful. I'm just going to give this a few little scrapes. And tell you the truth, I think that might be enough. Okay, we've got that. I'm going to put a little dash of salt in here. A little bit of pepper. Now, I debated whether to do this or not, but I'm going to put in a little bit of pine nuts, about 1/4 of a cup. I mean, probably because spinach is, you know, obviously a soft veggie. Maybe not even 1/4. Yeah, maybe 1/4 cup. I debated whether to, a little less than 1/4 cup for this amount. I debated whether to roast them or not. And so I'm deciding not to do that. So, okay, I've got my seasonings in here. Okay, I've got my onions done. Oh man, that smells so nice. Caramelized onions, garlic. We're just gonna pour that in there, and I know there's a little moisture in there, so hopefully that will be okay. fork for this. And then, like I said, I did way too much ricotta cheese here. So I'm gonna do about a quarter of a cup of ricotta cheese. So yeah, I'm gonna do about a quarter cup, or slightly less than a half. So maybe about a third. But if I was doubling this recipe, I would do at least a, well, this is close to a half. So we're gonna get that in there. Put that over here. I'm gonna go ahead and minus this egg. We're going to crack this egg. And I'm gonna stir this up a little bit. I forgot I did need a smaller fork. So yeah, we're just gonna heat up this egg a little bit. 2 of them. I hope this is still staying moist, my phyllo dough. We're gonna bring this over here. I'm gonna stir this up a little bit. Oh, I love some of the herbs that I'm smelling in here. And if you wanted a little more onion, feel free. I only did a half of an onion. If I were to double this, I would definitely do 1 whole onion. Tell you the truth, I think I almost need a little more ricotta. I don't think that half a cup was quite enough. Just gonna put in 2 more scoops. Then we're gonna dump in the feta cheese. I'm gonna dump in the pine nuts. And if I had thought about it a little more carefully, I would have put my ricotta cheese in a bigger bowl and then mix the eggs in with the ricotta cheese and then mix this all together. Now we're gonna do the egg. Then make sure you got all of that egg intermixed in here. And of course, the egg is the thing that will bind it all together. I'm trying to think, what else do I want in this? Oh, you know what I forgot? Just a little bit of parsley. You know what? I'm gonna go and get a little bit of parsley real quick. Is that okay? Okay, sorry about that. Okay, I'm gonna take my parsley here. Why do I keep losing that knife? Here it is. I'm just gonna lightly chop this up, maybe get a couple of tablespoons out of this. Kind of just bunch it all together for the bigger leaves. Really, this is not a hard dish to bake or make. To me, one of the hardest things is making sure your phyllo dough doesn't rip and tear. So, and now that I got this out, the first thing that comes to my mind, so I'm just gonna sprinkle that in there. It's about 2 tablespoons maybe, is baklava. Oh my gosh, doesn't that sound so good now? That's what comes to my mind. Okay, let me just put that egg aside. I'm just gonna put this cutting board aside, just in case if I need it again. We're gonna bring this over here. Let me get a, okay. Okay, oops. Oh dear. Okay, yeah, hopefully I didn't wait too long. We're just gonna, oh, you know what I forgot? You guys, I'm so sorry. I forgot the parm. I knew I had it out here for a reason. Okay. Let me do the parm. I don't need a lot of parm, but you know what? If I didn't put it in there, I would be mad. I'm gonna say, you know, okay, maybe a quarter of a cup or a couple of tablespoons. I just got a little parm here. I'm hoping just to use this little bit up. It'll give that nice little nutty saltiness to this dish as well. Okay. I've got the rind here, but I still have a little bit more left. So I'm just gonna try and get as much off of it as I can. And then, I'm sure many of you guys know already. If you haven't thought about it, this rind is great if you put it in a soup or anything that you may need the parm flavor part of it, like your tomato sauces or soup or something else. And then you just, you know, search it out before you serve up your sauce or dish. But man, it adds such great flavor. Okay, I think I'm almost to the end of this. Yeah. You know you're to the end when you don't see really any more. I don't know if you can see it there. See that very thin layer of white? And then the rest of it, you're getting into the rind. So save that rind because a lot of great flavor. So I don't know, I may have a little less than a quarter of a cup, but that's fine. I just wanted a little bit. Get the rest of this little parsley flakes in here. Put this back in my little bag. Okay. Get the rest of my parm out of there. Tell you, after I do these things, I got a lot of cleanup to do. Okay. Now let's do it. We're just gonna pour this in here. I'm gonna lightly, in fact, I might need a spoon to make sure I get everything. Okay, hang on, I'm gonna go get a spoon. Because I don't think this fork helps stirring it all up, but it's not really gonna help getting it all out. Because look at all this goodness. We can't leave all that in there. Okay, there we go. Just gonna lightly spread it out. So I think it's important to go from 6 to 8 layers here, and then another 6 to 8 layers on top. Okay, there we go. We've got that so far. Now I'm just gonna lightly, if I can, lightly fold this over. I mean, this should still be wet enough. Don't fold it over completely because I'm going to put other layers in here. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay. Get this off of here. I'm going to put this on here. And you know what? My butter kind of... See, I tell you, my house is not warm enough. I'm going to go ahead and melt this butter just a little bit so it's easier to spread it on the phyllo dough. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we're just going to gently as we can, just lightly. The first layer always seems to be the hardest. Then the others just kind of fall in. Oops, look at that, man. It tears so easily. You can always trim this stuff later, or if you want, just fold it over. You just really want to create a good seal. The biggest thing that you want to do is really create the layers. Okay, here we go. Just want to make sure I get it in around the edges. This one is kind of just weighing me down. And if you don't want to use butter, I think you could go ahead and use oil too, but I don't know, to me, butter is flavor and it will help brown. Just kind of lightly pat it in there. So I think that's layer number 3. So this might be kind of boring for you, for me to do 4 more. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up buttering all of this. And I'll be right back when I'm done. The one thing I did forget to tell you guys is to, oh, why not do another one? Is to add a few, breadcrumbs. You can use regular breadcrumbs. I would probably prefer the panko just because I still think it gives that little bit of crunch besides the pine nuts, but that's up to you. Nope, no last one. It kind of stuck together. Oh yeah, look at all this. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me get my cutting shears. Okay, what I'm gonna do here is just, I could have folded over this piece, but I'm just going to cut it off. Okay. You know what? The one thing I forgot to tell you. So I'm going to put this in the oven, but we should have preheated our oven at 375 degrees. I would check it at 40 minutes. It might take you up to an hour depending on your oven, but also depending on the size of your dish. So I'm going to stick it in there at 375 degrees for 45 minutes, and it should be nice, toasty, crisp brown. One thing I'm going to do here, one thing I've learned over the years is that if you don't score at least the top layer of this, it's a little bit harder to cut because it's been cooked, it's all crispy, and it may just all fall apart. So I'm going to cut these in little squares here. because now it's all moist. And I guess I should have cut it a little bit. Maybe I'll cut these a little bit bigger. These will be smaller and this will be the bigger size. So if you want a bigger piece and then just a small little piece, you've got that option. Okay. I think I'm just gonna go down the middle. If this was a bigger pan, I probably would have done it in thirds. And I'm just gonna score this right down the middle. Okay, if I remember correctly, this should bake. Turn out a nice golden crispy phyllo dough spinach pie. Okay, I'm gonna check back with you guys in about 45 minutes. So come on back to Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen. Well, I'm here to finish up the recipe for my spinach pie with using phyllo dough, which I absolutely love. It provides a nice little crunch, paper thin, but you get so much of that great goodness from the spinach mixture. So anyway, obviously Chris and I liked it because it's almost all done. So let me try this again because it is even better the second day or third day, whatever. I obviously took too big of a bite because I was so hungry. But anyway, I hope you give this spinach pie recipe a try. So go visit amyroloffslittlekitchen.com or on my YouTube channel, subscribe to it. But in the meantime, follow the recipe and you'll have a great spinach pie. And this is great because spinach is coming out now with going to your farmer's market and stuff like that. My biggest suggestion is to make sure that you use, wilt and cook your spinach. Because if not, that'll just create a little more water content to your pie. So anyway, spinach pie recipe and video over at Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen. So thanks for joining me, you guys. The citrus and the chicken. Oh man, this is so good. I'm hoping it's good because you know what? I am hungry. Hey, hi, I'm Amy and I'm in my little kitchen, Amy Roloff. And so anyway, I'm pretty excited. I've got grandkids coming over today. I'm just gonna watch them for a couple hours while Zach and Tori go off to a birthday party locally here. So anyway, but I'm in my kitchen. It was a beautiful, sunny, early pre-spring day. And the temperature was kind of warmer today than it has been. And so I got inspired by a salad that I grew up with, that my mom used to make, especially during the winter, because that is when I think citrus fruits were more available, but also they were in season. So instead of your grapes and plums and strawberries and blueberries, which are typically seasonal in December and January and February and March, we ate a lot of citrus, oranges, and incorporating lemon, or especially grapefruit. So I got inspired by that salad that I used to have a lot as a kid, and I thought, why don't I make that now? It's kind of reminded me of spring, but yet we're still in winter. But on top of the salad, I also wanted to add grilled chicken and grilled asparagus. So we get kind of a dinner salad, but you can also make it for lunch, or if you got leftover chicken, add it to the salad, whatever you want to do. So, in fact, where did my asparagus go? Oh dear, hang on. Sorry about that. That rumbling was, I'm going to save this bunch of asparagus for a steak sheet pan dinner that I'm going to make. So I'm going to grill some of these, but I just thought grilled asparagus would go really nice with this salad. And for some reason, if you don't like asparagus, I was thinking lightly grill a zucchini. However, zucchini isn't available in winter, even though we can still get it in our grocery store. And so I might, I will grill the asparagus. And I thought it'd be really nice to maybe incorporate some really thin slices of an English cucumber. They're longer, the skin isn't as thick, and they don't have as many seeds as like a regular cucumber. And I really like incorporating the English cucumber in a salad or something of that sort. So, you know what? If you can find blood oranges at your grocery store, those would really look good in the salad too, because they'll give some of that variety. But all I have here is a grapefruit, and I have some oranges. I might even thinly slice just a few lemons in there, and take the rind off and everything, and just thinly slice some onions. I know it'll give a little bit of this tartness, but I think it'll really go well with the grilled chicken and the grilled asparagus. And so I zested probably about a couple of oranges here. I'll zest this lemon, and I'll probably zest the lime. So we're gonna kind of have a citrusy dressing for this as well. I might incorporate, Dijon mustard with a little bit of white wine vinegar, even though I have a lot of citrus in here. And I can't remember what else. Maybe a little bit of tarragon. I thought tarragon would go nice in this dressing, and garlic. So a little bit of crunch, even though we've got the chicken and the asparagus. I'm gonna slice up some cucumber here and a red onion. So I think I might do this whole cooking thing in 2 phases, because I might have my grandkids coming over here in about a half hour. So I'm hoping I get to grill this chicken in time before they get here, so that I can hang out with them and play like a grandmother should. So let me get my apron on and we'll head on over to the grill. Okay, I think for the seasonings for the chicken, I was debating, I want to season the chicken without overpowering the chicken, because I really want the citrus salad to shine through as well. So we're incorporating a little bit of lemon in here. So I have lemon salt, and I used a little bit of that in here from Jacobsen. And I also have lemon pepper. So I thought that would really go well. But I also am going to add in a little bit of thyme and a little bit of garlic powder. I mean, just eye it. I've got a lot of chicken over there. And I might have to do this all over again, because I'm not sure this is going to be enough. And I've got 2 grill things, because one is going to be for my asparagus and the other, so it's just a little seasoning mix. The other thing you could really do with the chicken too is marinate it, and that will incorporate some flavor too. So a little bit of olive oil. You could squeeze in maybe an orange and a lemon in there to incorporate that. A little bit of garlic, salt and pepper. I would even do thyme as well. A little bit of, even a little bit of soy sauce in there. We've got our citrus, so I don't think you need vinegar, but if you want, do a little bit of vinegar, white wine vinegar. Something that you're doing with your dressing, incorporate that in your marinade as well. And put it in the fridge for maybe about an hour. before you're getting ready to grill it, take it out of the refrigerator for about 30 minutes. Let it kind of get to room temperature a little bit. So anyway, but I didn't have time to do that, so we're just doing a seasoning mix. So I got a little bit of lemon salt, lemon pepper, a little bit of thyme, a little bit of garlic, and I think I should, let me taste this. Oh yeah, I think that's gonna be good. I think I might add, I don't know, I had, these were kind of like in big chunks of the lemon salt. And so I used my pistol or little thing here. Oh dear. And then I mashed that salt to kind of get it more of something easier to put on the chicken and grill. Okay, let's head on over to the stove. Okay, I'm warming up my grill here a little bit. Just put a little bit of olive oil in there. And we are just going to, I pat dry my chicken so that these will kind of grill nice. I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of this on, the seasonings and herb mixture. Some of these pieces of chicken are bigger than others. And I did pound out my chicken just so they wouldn't be big chunks and big parts. I'm hoping the chicken will not stick to my pan. I'm going to just drizzle a little bit of olive oil over here, over the other side of the chicken. Sprinkle more of the seasonings on it, so that when I am ready to flip these over, they will be ready. Just want to make sure I get the seasonings over every little part. Okay, I think each side, until you get those grill marks, will probably take, I don't know, depending on how high you have your setting on, may take maybe about 5 minutes. Oh yeah, they're getting there. Okay, we'll wait till we are grilling the chicken. They're just grilling. And then this is my, if you didn't get to see everything when I was showing you, zucchini, peppers, lime, celery, my red onion, a English cucumber, and I've got grapefruit and oranges there, my lemon, and we'll get ready to make a dressing with the zest and my seasoning. All right. Okay, I am back in my little kitchen. My grandkids just left. Jackson and Lila had a blast with them. So I'm back to finishing up grilled chicken citrus salad, hopefully recipe. I'm hoping that things will still turn out because it's a little bit late here. I know Chris and I are hungry, so let me get the show on the road. Okay, I got done grilling my chicken. I've been keeping it warm in the oven. I am going to grill up some asparagus, and if you can tell, I love these this time of year because this is maybe a little bit early, but asparagus are great this time of year, and they're not thick and kind of like woody, stalky. They're thin, they're crisp, so this is not going to take long to cook. But as you can tell, I cut off the rough ends. So I'm going to take this bunch and just cut off these. And then what I'm going to do is just drizzle them with a little olive oil, just a little bit of salt and pepper. And I think that will be good because the dressing will be a little tarragon, will be some citrus zest from the orange. And Jackson zested the lime for me, so we got a little bit of lime in here. I'm gonna zest a little bit of lemon and just slice up a few pieces of lemon because I don't want the salad to be too tart. And we're gonna slice up some cucumber and celery. So I've got and I already sliced up some of the red onion. And then I thought for a little bit of crunch besides the vegetables, I'm just gonna kind of rough chop pistachios. I think if it was more like April, May, or the summertime, I think I would do sliced almonds. But we're gonna do pistachios. So I'm gonna slice up this cucumber as thin as I can get it, because I don't want big chunks. Just enough to give it a little bit of crunch, a little bit of green, but I think it will complement. And then when I'm done prepping all of this and grilling well, you know what I may do? I'll chop these up. And the one thing I love about a cucumber, because the English cucumber, half the time you don't even have to cut them in half. In fact, so good. And I think they're just a hint sweeter than a regular cucumber. But look at those little things. I love it. Okay, let me cut up a few stalks of celery here. I'm just gonna, I don't want them too thick slices. I don't want them too thin either, but be the judge of it. And if you don't want celery in the salad, you don't have to have celery in the salad. You can pick out another onion if you want. I just remember having this salad with growing up. We would have like chopped up lettuce or a little bit of lettuce. And I think my mom would even put a little dollop of cottage cheese in the middle, surrounded by the sliced citrus fruit and a little bit of onion. And I think we had a little bit of dressing on it. I can't remember fully, but I definitely remember this. Another breakfast treat during the winter time, we would have oranges. And oranges are generally sweet, but sometimes when you get them in the grocery store, they're picked too early, so they don't have as much sweetness as if, picked it off the tree, I guess. And my mom would sprinkle just a little bit of powdered sugar and cinnamon on the sliced oranges. And us kids, I don't know, I love that. So I just thought I'd elevate this more to today and what I want for dinner and stuff like that. So anyway, okay, we got the cucumber done, we got this done. I think what I'm gonna do now is I've got all of this. I think I might go ahead and make my dressing, get my lettuce out, prep my bowls. And so the last thing I will do is grill the asparagus, and then that way everything will be done and I'll be able to eat, except for the crushed, rough chopped pistachios. So let's get going on the dressing. We're gonna get going on the dressing. So I'm going to just do a little bit of olive oil in here. I don't know, maybe a quarter of a cup, half a cup. I'm definitely gonna put some, even though I'm gonna put lemon juice and a little bit of lemon zest as well, I am still gonna go ahead and put in a little bit of white wine vinegar. We're gonna zest a little bit of this onion in here. I always forget to take the stickers off after I wash the fruit. Or wipe it off or whatever. Here we go. Might need a little more. Okay, there we go. Got some lemon juice in here. Just gonna do a little bit of salt. Not a lot. Since I've got a little bit of that mustard in there. I'm going to juice this lemon, the seeds out. Definitely do not want seeds in my dressing. I think that's it. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna put in some of this zest. I think I'm only gonna do like maybe a teaspoon or two. We're gonna squirt in, instead of Dijon mustard, I'm gonna do a little bit of honey mustard. I think that'll, whoops, I got some out of the bowl. I'm gonna put in a little sprinkle of this minced, I try to mince it as much as I can. 1 clove of garlic. And I forgot the tarragon, so I'm gonna go and get that. Oh, this is pretty good. I kind of like it though. A little more olive oil. Because I want to save the rest of that onion for onions, or lemon. I want to save the rest of this lemon for lemon slices. Just going to try and thinly, if I can, thinly slice a few slices of the lemon. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Might have to get that seed out. But yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get our bowls ready, get some lettuce. I'm gonna chop up some romaine. I'm gonna get some, is this tarragon? No, that's thyme. I'm gonna get some tarragon for the dressing. And I think we're gonna be set. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and just slice up a little bit of romaine first. I might mix this in with a little bit of arugula. Or if you wanted to use chopped up butter lettuce, I think that would go well, or leaf lettuce. But I thought romaine would hold up well to the weight of all that we got going on here. I'm gonna pile this all on this plate over here. Gonna go ahead and put some in this bowl here. Since it's only Chris and I'm just doing individual bowls. If you're serving up a big family, get like a really nice big platter. Lay your chicken pieces down. And, well, first, you know, do your lettuce. Lay your chicken down. Then sprinkle all the other ingredients like your celery, your grilled asparagus, or your cucumber, and your slices of grapefruit and oranges, or red blood grapefruit, or no, oranges, anyway, and stuff like that. Or lay all of that stuff on top of your lettuce and just gently lay or slice your chicken over that salad, and people can dish up that way as well. But since it's just Chris and I'm just doing individual bowls here. I'm gonna do a little bit of arugula here because I really like that nice peppery, just a little bit. And I'm hoping you'll be able to see how pretty this looks. Since it's in these big bowls, I'm hoping that's what you're able to see. It's just a little bit of arugula, not a lot, just a little bit. Okay, we're gonna go over there and we're gonna start grilling the asparagus, and we're pretty much ready to go. Okay, I'm warming up my pan here, and I'm hoping this will work. To tell you the truth, I haven't grilled asparagus in a long time. I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of olive oil. Just kind of get those well coated. And I'm just gonna do a little bit of salt and pepper on them. You know, if you don't want to grill them like on your stove here, you can definitely roast these in your oven. And hopefully that'll be enough. I just think roasting and grilling just really brings out some of the really great flavors. And all kinds of stuff. Okay. And like I said, this should not take long because these are young. They're thin or skinny asparagus. They're not that big, woody. Okay. So I think this will probably take, again, this is still warming up. It'll probably take about maybe 5 minutes. And in the meantime, I'm going to slice up the chicken while this is grilling. Okay, I'm going to slice up a little bit of the chicken. I think I'm all done for everything else using this cutting board, so I think I'm going to be okay. So I'm going to take one of these chickens. Just really kind of cut it on the grain. I hope. And because I'm doing these in individual bowls, this just seemed easier. So that'll be Chris's little piece of chicken there. And then this will be mine. Oops. Or if it starts falling apart, that's okay too. Just try and cut it on the grain as you can so they come out with nice slices. But if they're just pieces of chicken, I mean, that works well. That works too. Okay, so we're all done here. Easy peasy. My cucumbers. Oh, you know what I had to do? I gotta slice up the citrus. I better get out another cutting board. Okay, I got this new cutting board here, and you know what? I think I forgot to put a little bit of lemon in here. Okay, here we go. Oh, we're gonna cut up our citrus right now. I'm just gonna slide this way. Oh man, nothing like fresh citrus, I tell ya. This brings me back to my childhood. I'm gonna cut the grapefruit in half because I think a whole slice of grapefruit is a little bit much. And I think my eyes were bigger than reality here because I definitely have a lot of citrus here. Fruit, oranges and grapefruit, more than I'm sure Chris and I can handle. Okay, let me take you over here to the asparagus. I've got all my stuff set up, layer my salads. Let's go over here. Hopefully I'm not burning them. Oh yeah, see they're getting some of their grill marks here. Yeah, I think like that one. Well, they're getting them. Yeah. Okay, just a little bit longer for the asparagus. Okay, we're gonna start layering our salads. I'm gonna sprinkle some celery. Lay some slices of cucumber. Just gonna really try and make it tasty, but also look pretty, look inviting. I'm gonna lay some grapefruit around. Make sure you get any seeds or anything that you don't like about the grapefruit. Lay some oranges. And if you feel like you've got too thick oranges or the slicers or anything, I think cutting them up cutting them in half helps with also eating it. I think we're gonna have to cut up a few slices. A few more slices of grapefruit, I think. Here we go. Well, maybe not. There we go. Okay, we've got that going on so far. I'm definitely gonna slice up my lemon. In fact, I'm only gonna put one lemon right in the middle so as the chicken and the asparagus lay on top of it. I think that'll be really nice. Sprinkle a little bit of thinly sliced red onion. And if you think they're too big, just kind of rip them in half. Okay, you guys wanna, I gotta check the asparagus, make sure they're not burning. Here's what the salads are looking like. I think they'll be really good. Let's check on these babies. Oh yeah, these are done. And I think what I'm gonna do with the asparagus is just cut them in half. In fact, I think I'm gonna put them back on their plate over here. Just kind of take a big knife and just cut them in half. Okay, I have my asparagus here, so I'm just gonna kind of just lay them crisscross a little bit on the salad. Make sure I get both ends. Here we go. Oh, have to taste one. Mmm. So good. Then I'm gonna gently kind of lay the chicken. This is one big breast of chicken for Chris, but hopefully he'll like that. Tell you the truth, I'm thinking I should have probably put this on a plate, but I didn't. Okay, there we go. Oh man, this looks so good. Now we're just gonna drizzle some of the dressing over. I'll just roughly chop up I think this dressing will enhance the citrus and the chicken. Oh man, this is so good. I'm hoping it's good because you know what? I am hungry. Okay, we're gonna sprinkle in a little bit of parsley. And if you wanted to use cilantro, you could, but I think parsley works better here. Okay, and then I think I added, I'm not sure if I added, I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit of tarragon. I'm not sure if I added it into the dressing like I should have. Okay, let me get a little bag. Well, you guys, you know this is real when I don't clean up in between. Just gonna put them in here. I'm just gonna use a little glass. Okay, I think that's enough. This will add a nice little crunch besides some of the veggies in here. Like I said, if you want something else, go ahead, add something else. Okay, there we go. That's what's for dinner tonight. Grilled chicken citrus salad. So you can find this recipe and all of my other recipes over at Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen, or go to my YouTube channel, subscribe to that. But I so appreciate it, and I hope you like this version of a citrus salad. So enjoy. Let me see. I want a little piece of the citrus. Mmm. Mmm. And so fresh. A little asparagus and chicken. Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen. Till next time, thanks for joining me. Just put a little freshness on, a little greenery. So there we go. My version of an Irish pub salad. Okay, hi, I'm Amy Roloff, and I'm in my little kitchen. You know, to tell you the truth, I'm not really sure what inspired me to do this salad. It's been a long time since I've been to Ireland. This is called Irish pub salad. I'm not sure if I'll still name it that, I can't remember. But it has pickled vegetables along with the salad and some fresh ingredients. And so I think you can really make this salad into your own. If you don't like pickled beets, then maybe pickled asparagus, pickled green beans, pickled carrots, or whatever else you can find. So this is Irish pub salad. I love salads, and I think with this salad, think about being in that old-fashioned Irish pub and you get a little bit of greens, but you get a little bit of pickled items in it too. And I've got eggs here. We'll even put like a little cheese. So almost think of like a charcuterie. I think that's how you say it, like a charcuterie board type of thing as well. So let's just get started. Make it your own. If you want some protein, salads to me are all about putting that protein off on the side, but making the salad the star. So anyway, I've got butter lettuce here because it's big, it's flat, and you can even wrap some of the veggies in like a leaf. Take a little bit of each one. So anyway, so I've got, you know, I don't know what, one, let's see here. And I love butter lettuce. It is light, and I usually just cut out this little hard part at the end. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And depending on how much you put on your plate will depend on how many leaves of lettuce you want. And I want a few more because that's how I roll. So I have about 6 right there. Let's just do one little one more. I'm just gonna take apart the little hard part because a lot of times people don't want that on there. All right, okay, we got our plate together. This is such an easy salad to put together. The hardest part is maybe cutting up the cucumbers and the tomatoes. So we have it plated. I'm going to add some celery for a little bit of crunch, but since I've got this going on right over here, I'm going to do a little bit of this. And these eggs, I tell you, you never know how a hard-boiled egg is going to turn out because the yolk is such to the surface. So it's not bad. I didn't want them hard, but a little soft because I don't like soft yolk. That is not how Amy Roloff rolls. And so you really, the whole idea here is how to plate it. I'm not going to add a lot of cheese, but I think for this salad, it kind of needs a little cheese. So I'm not doing them, I'm not slicing it really thick. So I just want to just do a little cheese here. Okay, so we're done with this. Let's put this on here so I have more room here. And I did get a celery because I just want a little crunch. And don't worry, we are going to get into our pickled vegetables here in a minute. And again, I don't want them thick or big. Cut them on a little bit on a diagonal, a little different there. So I just have one celery. It really depends. And I have this on a big plate. If you want to make a smaller version of this, just put it on smaller plates for individuals. And this is something you can share too because the butter lettuce, you can kind of sneak one or have a separate bowl with the buttered lettuce and they can take their little individual things and you can almost make it into a wrap. Give it that little crunch there. Okay, we're gonna do the tomatoes. And I think cherry or grape tomatoes work best here. If you want all bright red, do that. I think the heirloom tomatoes are really coming out. So I wanted to just use a little bit of kind of like the heirloom cherry grape tomatoes. Because why not? And then definitely some red ones. And this can almost be a salad to share. If not, like I said, I made it on a big plate just to see it. Little slices of cucumber. And I'm choosing an English cucumber. I like an English cucumber better because the skin isn't as thick and it's, I don't know, like a little more delicate. What I may end up doing, instead of having big rounds, I may cut this in half. That way it's a little more bite size and you don't have to, you know, like cut it before you actually eat it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut them in half. So, yeah, do that. Boy, what is that salad? Do you know that salad's name, Lisa? Starts with an N.
Yeah, noise.
It's like usually tuna fish is on it.
Yeah, like noise or...
Noise. It's, I think it's a French word. Okay, we got that going on. Now let's get into our pickled. Okay, pickled. How much pickled stuff do you want? I got a couple there, 2 there. I think I'm making the salad a little bit different than my original one. This is definitely a little more fuller. I'm using pickled carrots, pickled green beans. I'm going to slice up some pickled beets. Now, I think pickled beets here will be really, really good. Definitely add color to it. But if you don't like pickled beets, because I'm hoping I do, I think pickled beets are a little different than canned. I think these will taste very good. And all of these pickled items that I got, I don't know, it says on here like mild. So they're probably not over seasoned or over garlicked or over peppered. And with summer vegetables coming up, oh people, you can, in fact, I'll include that in my recipe. You can pickle your own veggies, your own carrot, your own asparagus, your own green beans, your own beets. These are like little baby beets, but you can do it yourself with all the nice summer. That's the reason I picked this salad, because you can pickle your own stuff. I didn't have time to pickle my own stuff, but minimally, it probably should be 24 hours in order for it to get that pickled flavor and stuff like that. And this is really what this is about. There's a lot of pickled stuff over there in Ireland, and this is called an Irish pub salad. So
Delicious. Would you like to know how to pronounce the salad you were saying, or the lettuce?
I don't think it's the
Niçoise.
oh, niçoise.
It's French.
See, I told you, French. Okay, I'm
Niçoise.
I'm doing a little beets here. I don't know, isn't that kind of pretty?
It's delicious.
I definitely made it a little more than my original salad I did earlier today. But, okay, the dressing. I debated what to do for the dressing. I've already made it. It has, see, these are my cheat sheets. Because a lot of times I'll write down a recipe, I'll just handwrite it, and then I will make it, prepare it, and I say, okay, I'm going to tweak this, I'm going to do this, do this. Basically, the recipe is what you see on my video. But if I said 4 cups of this and I only went 3.5, then it's still the same, but just follow the recipe, which I think most of you guys do. It'll all work out. Anyway, let's see about this dressing. I want to get it right. So I have, this will probably do at least several salads. I mean, I made this earlier today, and we'll have enough for 4 or 5 salads. So, but I have a half a cup of mayo. I used rice vinegar because I think that has a little more tartness. I didn't want to use apple cider vinegar because that has a kind of a different flavor. I would use rice vinegar or white wine vinegar. I think that will go well in here. A little bit of salt and pepper. I use stone ground mustard in it because I really like that. You've got the brine from the pickled vegetables in here, so I did not want my salad dressing too tart either. And then salt and pepper. Oh yeah. Oh, this is key. Tarragon. That's what I used in here. Thyme, I think, is a little overpowering. Oregano is a little overpowering. Basil, no. If you do use parsley, that's just a little green garnish on top. You could use chive because I didn't put any onions on this, and chive has that little bit of hint of onion. But tarragon, I don't know, it's kind of earthy. It's kind of not sweet, but it's kind of a nice, like, mellow herb flavor to it. So I decided on tarragon. And then if you need to, just a little itty bitty drizzle of honey, just if you think your dressing is too tart. Now, I think this is a little bit too thick. I want it a little bit runny. I don't want it globs of salad dressing. So I can either thin it out with water, but I also thought about, because it's not as tart, I also thought about thinning it out with white wine. How about that? Instead of the vinegar, because the vinegar is very acidity, but the white wine is a little bit much. So I'm gonna do a little white wine. But if you don't want white wine, use water. And to me, if you're gonna drink wine, whatever wine you drink, add it to your cooking. A little dribble, and especially if you use white wine vinegar. You use a little white wine, just regular white wine. And see, I think this will be nice. Or I should say, just use water. Because, you know, white wine may change the flavor of it a little bit. And then we're just gonna, ooh. See, the runnier, I think the better. And you can almost make this like your family salad, where you pass it around, everyone takes a little bit. And I did have green parsley here. Oh, here it is. Oh, lovely. Just put a little freshness on it, a little greenery. So there we go. My version of an Irish pub salad. And this is a great way to also use some of those summer vegetables that you could pickle yourself. And you don't need a lot. One jar will probably last for a while, but anyway. So this is what's up in my little kitchen. So you guys always want me to taste it. But yeah, look at this. I'm gonna take a carrot, a beet. Let's get a little freshness of a tomato, a cucumber. This is the second time I've tried this because it's been so long. I'm kind of a fan of pickled vegetables. Maybe because I did the mild version of it. I'm sorry people, I think I'm hungry. You guys have to give this salad a try. I really like it. The dressing works for me. Like I said, if you want to substitute chive for tarragon, do it. It'll be, you know, it'll be good too. And even adding that little white wine just to thin it out, to me, it didn't change the flavor a lot because the rice vinegar and the other elements in there. And I just used just the slightest hint of honey because I didn't want to have, you know, this kind of like brine with fresh vegetables and then you have like this sweet dressing. I didn't want that. But sometimes if it's too tart, just add in a little hint of honey. So anyway, Irish pub salad at Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen. Give it a try. Till next time. Okay, let's give it a try. Still so good. Well, hey, hi, I'm Amy Roloff, and I'm in my little kitchen. We are making a blueberry crumble bar. This crumble you can make with raspberries, strawberries, or peaches. But if you did any of those other varieties, I would probably add like a little nutmeg or a little cinnamon in the, you know, the baked part of it. It is like having a little piece of a blueberry pie. So anyway, summertime, use all of those fresh ingredients out there because it's only a very short period of time. Or if you do go blueberry picking, freeze them. That way you always have some. So let's get going here. This is an easy recipe. I'm gonna dump in 3 cups of flour. And then we're gonna add in, what am I gonna say? I think it's 2 cups of sugar. And did I ever tell you guys that I was watching Bobby Flay one time do, you know, his show, the many shows that he does. I think it was Breakfast with Bobby. I so loved it when he goes, you know, I do all of these recipes. I do not know them all by heart. It's like a musician and their songs. I just, you know, how can they memorize that? Anyway, he always has this cheat sheet notes. So anyway, 3 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar. Because I want to get it right for you, about a teaspoon of baking powder, a little bit of salt here. You got to have salt to balance out some of the sweet. I'd say about a half a teaspoon. And then, oh yeah, zest of a lemon. Come on, when you're using blueberries, you got to have a little bit of lemon. And we're going to use some of this zest, but we're only going to use half of the juice from the lemon, not the whole. And I'm sure you can find something else to use the other half of the lemon with. Okay, here we go. You got that going? Oh yeah, the juice goes in the blueberries. We're getting the baked cookie part of it here. And then I have 2 sticks, 1 cup of cold butter. Now, because it's kind of warm out here right now, this is summertime, I stuck the butter in the freezer. Because when you start using a pastry cutter or whatever you want to use to get that butter incorporated in there, then you have all these different flakes of butter. And basically really what you're doing is kind of making a shortbread. But oh, that crumble on top, that is so good. I have found that if I grate my butter, it takes a while and the heat from my hands warms it up too much. So that's why I just slice it. You can use this in like a food processor if you wanted. But sometimes when I'm like doing these videos and stuff, it just makes too much noise. I don't know. I kind of like the using a pastry cutter. Okay. And then we're just going to have a workout here. We're just going to mash in that butter. And by the way, Lisa's in the background. She was my sous chef. Normally, 99.9% of the time, it's just me getting all the ingredients together and stuff like that. So it was kind of nice to have a little extra here.
Just saying hi. How's it going? I've got everything
Good.
organized for you.
I know. Thank you so
Have fun.
much. Well, it's almost like I've made this before. Why don't I? Now I'm like so paranoid I'll forget, telling them what to
you're doing
do.
a great job.
Yeah, she's a good behind the scenes person. Okay, so you just do this until you feel that the butter is incorporated into the flour and it looks like coarse sand. So you will see little chunks of butter, but you're going to press it in to a 9x13 baking dish. And if you don't want to make as many bars, just cut the recipe in half. So instead of, a 9x13, you could probably just, get something like this. That way you just have a little treat. Because for Chris and I, you know what I'm going to do with all of this? Give it away. Then again, I don't know. Jeremy and Audrey are out of town. Jacob and Isabel would like some. Okay, we're going to keep doing this a little bit longer. Okay, here we go. We're going to do one egg. This will be enough just to combine it. Just to kind of give it a little moisture so you can press down on it. And the lemon zest will just give it enough of a lemon flavor into your crust and into your crumble. I have about 3 cups here, so we're just going to use about a couple and a half and see how that works. So this is all that you do. You just take half of your flour, kind of even it out. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do something.
What did you forget?
What I forgot to do, everyone, I don't want this to stick to this, so I'm going to grease it a little bit. And you can use Crisco or you can use a spray. I have a tendency, and it's probably because I grew up like this, either using Crisco or I just rub a little butter just along the sides and of course the bottom, just so if the blueberries, kind of seep out the juices, it won't stick to this and it'll be so much easier. And I know the big thing out there is using parchment paper, but you have to do it. You have to lay the parchment paper this way or that way, and I must not have gained the knack for that because it just seems a little too much for me, but I just grease it. Now let's go do this. Got one, just slightly over 1.5. Then you just press it down. Easy, I tell you, this is easy. Just throw the ingredients together. Good basic cookie. But the reason I like this, especially if you don't want to go to the hassle of all the pie making, which is, not all that bad. But this is like, and I can see all the chunks of butter in here, which will help make it a nice, rich, kind of shortbread bottom. Okay, we got that all going. I have 4 cups of blueberries. We're going to add in, I think, a 1/2 cup of sugar. What else do I have here? Oh, yeah. Cornstarch. Duh! We're dealing with fruit. Cornstarch will help. And probably what I should have done here, you guys, was mix the cornstarch in with the sugar. I think it incorporates in with the fruit a lot better, but it was too rushed. And then we're only going to do the juice of a 1/2 of a lemon. I just think that's enough lemon. I don't want the blueberries, I want the cornstarch to be able to be incorporated. I don't want the juice of the blueberries with the lemon to be too juicy, because then it should be more pie. Okay. I'm just going to do the juice of 1. And I always use this little device because I love it. And usually my hands aren't that big to get the seeds. Now, the thing I probably should have done was do this first. That way the sugar and the cornstarch had a time to kind of like be friends and help thicken it up and get all over the blueberries. But this will be okay. Okay. We're just going to pour this in here. And the reason I like using fresh, because when you use frozen, I think you incorporate a little bit more water, juice. And so I would probably add in like a 1/2 teaspoon, if not more, of cornstarch. Okay, now we're going to make our crumble. So with the leftover crumble, we're just going to add a splash of vanilla. We're going to add just a little bit more sweetness here. About 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. Okay, sugar. I forgot. Okay. And then what I do here, because we already got the egg, some of the egg in here. Just going to see if it's holding together. And when I put it on the blueberries, I'm just going to kind of just press it together so it has chunks. Some of it'll be, won't come together. It'll just be like you're putting flour on it, but trust me, it will work. So you're just going to press it in between your fingers a little bit. It'll be a nice little crumble because as the berries cook and the juice kind of bubbles up all around it, I tell you, it's like having a piece of a blueberry pie. And then if you even wanted a little bit of a crunch to this, you could add slivered almonds. No, not slivered, sliced almonds. Just break them up a little bit for on top of this crumble, but I kind of like it like this. Okay, my directions are going to be either 1.5 to 2 cups for the bottom, but at least 1 cup on top for the crumble. Because you want to make sure you have a good base in order to hold the bar. Oh, preheat your oven at 375 and you'll probably cook this anywhere from 40 to 50 minutes until it's a light golden brown on top. So this is what we have. Blueberry crumble bars. Okay, here we go. So I just put it in the oven. We'll probably have it in there about 40-45 minutes, so I'll see you back then. Hopefully they turn out. Look at this. I think I might have left them in about 5 minutes too long, but you know what? They're still going to taste good. And I tell you, this is like having a piece of a blueberry pie in a small little cookie form. So anyway, We'll see you when it cools down. So one thing about this blueberry crumble bar is you can eat it with a fork. If it's really cool, you know, it's not warm at all, you can eat it as, you know, a little bar cookie or whatever, or even cut out a bigger piece and put ice cream over it, and you can eat it that way too. So, you know, got lots of variety here. Okay, I think these are still a little warm because they're kind of falling apart. So think about it as eating a nice warm pie. There we go. Okay, let's give it a try. Still so good. Oh yeah. Come on, I gotta have another bite. So it has a hint of lemon in it. It's blueberry, a blueberry crumble bar. I think you're gonna love it. And besides, we're in blueberry season, so give it a try and make your own version. You can almost use the same crumble, add a different spice to it if you're doing peach or raspberry or strawberry or something like that. But this blueberry one is very delicious and yummy. So from Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen, blueberry crumble bar, I hope you give it a try. We'll see you next time. But with a hint, just a hint of the maple syrup, it just balances it out really well. Okay, you guys, we are doing another sheet pan chicken, but this is just chicken without adding vegetables and stuff like that. But if you guys found a vegetable that you wanted to add to it, that would be perfectly fine too. This is kind of a new recipe. It's kind of a fallish type of chicken thing. And so what I did was I used my food processor, and this is cranberries. Let me get my notes. Fresh cranberries, olive oil, just a hint of maple syrup, a little bit of garlic, rosemary, and white wine. And so this is our marinade for chicken thighs. You can add a little bit more marinade if you have more than 4 chicken thighs. I only did 4. And so these have been marinating at least for 30 minutes, or you can go up to 24 hours. It doesn't have that much acidity except for the white wine, but also the tartness of the cranberries will also help with marinating your chicken. So we don't exactly want all this. Unless you really want a great sauce, you could do this and put it over some kind of potatoes or mashed potatoes or something like that. So it's really up to you. But we're not gonna do that. So we're just gonna wipe it off. And look at that, isn't that cute? It turns your chicken red or pink. This is kind of a new recipe. It's a lighter chicken recipe, but I think it's good. I think it's great for fall. I think it's very versatile. And then all you do here is just drizzle a little bit of salt. Not drizzle, sprinkle a little bit of salt. So we got this. We're just gonna sprinkle some salt on your chicken. That'll create some flavor. We're just going to sprinkle some cranberries in here. They'll create the juice as well. Sprinkle some of this rosemary over here. That'll add some really great flavor as well. And the one thing I forgot to do prior is, believe it or not, we are going to brush on a little bit of maple syrup. I know, isn't that kind of funny? And the funny thing is, it's not like it turns your chicken really sweet or anything. But with all the tartness of all of this, it'll just elevate the flavor just a little bit. And we're going to cook these for about 25 minutes. And then, to get that nice golden brown skin on your chicken, we are going to put it underneath the broiler a little bit. You guys don't realize how full my sink is getting with all the dishes here, but that's okay. Because that's for me to deal with later. Okay, so here's our sheet pan chicken with cranberry and rosemary. We're gonna put it in the oven, 375. We're gonna put it in the oven for about 25 minutes. And then we're gonna stick it underneath the broiler for another 3 minutes or so until the skin kind of gets all crispy and toasty. Okay, I will see you guys back here in about 25 minutes. I'll show you what it looks like before we broil it. Okay, I told you guys that I would be back, right? Ha ha ha! And I am in my little kitchen. Well, I took out the chicken, but I want the skin part to be a little brown. So this is pure maple syrup that I got sent to me after I did a speaking engagement all the way in National Syrup Festival. So that was a really fun speaking engagement to do, but I still have some of the pure maple syrup. And the one reason I like it, it is caramel-like. It's not overly sweet. It's light. It's just really good. But anyway, I'm just gonna brush on a little bit here. And I've got my broiler going. This is only going to take a few moments, just enough to give that nice little crispiness, yes, crispiness to the chicken. So you just need a few little dabs. So let's stick it in the broiler oven. Or let's stick it in the oven under the broiler. So, about 5 minutes. I'll see you again. Okay, so let's get the chicken out. But this is what it is. It is sheet pan chicken with cranberry and rosemary. So, it's a little hot, but I so want to taste it because, you know, come on. Get my fork out. I'll take this little piece here. Let me get some of the cranberries. So what I think this is going to be definitely a little tart, but I'm hoping juicy. Okay. And the one thing I think that makes this good too when you broil it, the skin can be a little crunchy, but also it keeps in all the juices and the chicken moist. So let me see here. Oh yeah, look at that. Little cranberry. I have to blow on it because it is a little hot, you guys. Definitely when you bite in the cranberries, it's a little tart, but with the hint, just a hint of the maple syrup, it just balances it out really well. In fact, I would probably serve this with wild rice, not just regular white rice or something like that. I would probably serve this with wild rice and maybe some Brussels sprouts or green beans or even just a green salad, whatever green thing you like. And you just have a hint of the rosemary. I probably did not add enough sprigs, but I would probably add a sprig of rosemary for each chicken so that you get some of that more earthy herb going on there, balancing out just the hint of the sweetness from the maple syrup, and then you get this burst of this tart cranberry. I think it's really good. So with that, sheet pan chicken with cranberry and rosemary. I really hope you guys give this a try because basically this was a really easy this was a really easy recipe to make. And with the hint of the cranberries and a little bit of the maple syrup, it definitely reminds me of fall. So anyway, give it a try. Oh, by the way, check out Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen on my YouTube channel because you can find this recipe, all of the other recipes over at Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen YouTube channel or at .com. And don't forget to subscribe because I'm really working on, with my team, to incorporate some other things when you do subscribe. A Q&A, a cooking with Amy, just a whole bunch of stuff that we're going to try And appreciate you guys for following me and all this other stuff. But anyway, till next time, I hope you have fun in your kitchen, because I know I am.
Fresh tomato didn't fall apart. It almost tastes like fresh tomato sauce. Like, you know, when you just ripe tomatoes out of the garden. Oh my gosh. And the fresh basil on top.
Yeah. This is really good.
Garlic, cheese, and then the pie crust.
So hi, I'm Amy Roloff, and I'm in my little kitchen. We are gonna start off with a tomato galette. So if you go to the farmer's market, or you've got that wonderful vegetable garden and you've planted a variety of tomatoes, especially the heirloom tomatoes, because they kind of come in different colors, kind of, and it makes it really look nice and pretty. But basically a galette is, or a crostini.
Yeah,
It's a crostata, because a crostini is those little appetizer things. I think it's a crostata. That's the Italian. A galette is the French version. Anyway, I love making these things, either sweet or savory, because it is like a rustic pie. And if you don't want to take the time to really make a pie crust and fit it in the pie dish and all this other stuff, this is an easier way, quicker way to do something and still get that kind of like pie taste. Anyway, this is a tomato galette. This will do great if you want to serve it for breakfast or lunch, or have a vegetarian meal, serve it with a nice green salad. But this can also complement protein that you may have, whether it be pasta, chicken, or whatever you want. So anyway, let's get going. So we're making a tomato galette. I want to tell you the first thing that I did. One thing about a galette is that when you're using fruit or like a tomato, those are very wet ingredients. And in order to help prevent your crust from being all soggy on the bottom, for these tomatoes, this is what I did. I laid them out on a baking dish on like a cookie rack and drizzled salt all over it. And that'll help draw some of this water out. And then what I'll do is just pat it lightly with paper towel to soak up some more water. And I think you'll have a much better galette and still get that nice flaky crust. So this will have tomatoes, we'll have a pie crust. I'm going to do a layer of ricotta and cream cheese with a little bit of parm and a little bit of herbs in it, and that will give a nice base to kind of protect the crust from the wet or the juiciness of those oh my gosh, it will protect a little bit from those ripe, delicious tomatoes, not potatoes, tomatoes. Anyway, so go to your farmer's market or pick them from your garden or whatever. So I have about 2 cups of flour in here. We're gonna cut up about a half a cup to maybe a 3/4 cup of use very cold butter, slice them up. You might only need a half a cup, you might need 3/4 of a cup, just kind of eyeball it. You really want it to look like coarse sand. I'm just gonna slice this up. Oh yeah, by the way, people, I'm using my food processor, because if you've watched my other recipes on my YouTube channel, sometimes I don't use my food processor, I use a pastry cutter. So anyway, we're just gonna kind of slice this up. I hate it when the butter sticks to the knife. And to tell you the truth, the reason I have everything like in front of me, because I don't have long arms, so I can reach everything in front of me. I don't think I put salt in there. Definitely add a little bit of salt. This will help flavor your crust. And yes, I just eyeball the salt. So, you know, 1/4 teaspoon, something like that. That's good. Okay, hang on, people. Oops. See, there's always something going on. I didn't have it on right. We'll pulse it, and just so it looks like rough sand. Oh, apple cider. That'll add a little bit of flavor, but it'll also kind of make your crust a little more flakier too. So, I don't know, maybe 1/2 teaspoon? Sounds good to me. Because you don't want too much, because you don't want your crust tasting like vinegar. Now this is the tricky part because it all depends. I mean, sometimes I've used 6 tablespoons, sometimes I've used 8. Then I think, okay, did I not measure my flour right or something like that? So anyway. So we're just going to start off with 1, 5, okay, 6 tablespoons. Anyway, I got the dough out of the food processor, and what we're just going to do is just knead this just a little bit. If you put it in the freezer, don't keep it there longer than like maybe 15 minutes. But I'm just going to stick this in the fridge, and as I prep the little ricotta cheesy base to this galette, this will be sitting in the fridge. This is a very simple little side dish or little lunch meal or whatever you want to do. Whoa, look at this. I think the hardest thing is getting the plastic wrap out. And there are other reasons you want to roll it, you want to put it in a disc, because it makes it that much easier to roll out. So I'm just going to put this in the fridge, clean up this, and we'll get going. And if you don't know a useful tool, a box scraper is a very useful tool to clean up your work surface. Because we'll deal with this again later once we roll out the dough. So we're going to do, I'm going to look at my cheat sheet, guys, because as I mentioned to you before, I do not memorize all of these recipes. See, this is what I call my cheat sheet. Okay, let's see here. I just want to tell you the right amount. So about, I don't know, anywhere from a half a cup to a cup of ricotta cheese. I just like a thin layer on my crostata or galette. I don't like a big, thick, cheesy layer on the bottom because the star of this whole thing should be your tomatoes. So I just want a thin layer. So you can use up to a cup, but a half a cup is fine of ricotta as well. And then for some reason, I really like adding a little bit of cream cheese. I think it adds a little extra creaminess. And we're talking anywhere from a couple tablespoons. It's just enough. And I already used some of this for a previous recipe. So yeah, that was probably maybe 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. You just want to cream this all together. I don't think I was as prepared as I normally am when I do these recipes because I have to grate the parm. Okay, that's done. So you probably want maybe about a half a cup, something like that of parm. Parmesan cheese. You know what I always do? I tell you this before, but in my mind I go, Parmesan? No, because Parmesan Reggiano, that doesn't go. So I go, Parmesan Reggiano, or whatever. So now I know, Parmesan. Yeah, Parmesan. We're gonna add Parmesan cheese. You guys, I don't know what it is about words, some of these words. And another tip, if you ever like making soups, depending on your soup, save the rind and put that in with your soup base, and that'll add that little extra kind of flavor to it. So, I don't know, this is about a half a cup. I think it'll be enough. Add that all in here. Now, typically I would probably add a little bit of salt, but I think with these cheeses, and especially with the parm, this is going to have enough salt. I tell you, you know what? I wish I had a bigger place to have a bigger garden for herbs, because one pot of oregano or basil or thyme, it would be gone in like 2 weeks because I love fresh herbs. And if I buy it in the grocery store, I definitely pay for it because they're expensive. So if you can, I mean, dry herbs will work well with this too because you are, I'm going to save the rest of these for the topping of it. Oh yeah, the other thing I was going to mention too is when you use farmer's market or garden tomatoes, they will be juicy because you're getting them more ripe. You're getting them with more flavor. So I think this process of the tomatoes over there and salting them and draining the water a little bit is key. So you don't have too wet of a thing, of a crostata. Crostata. I like saying those words. Galette. I sound so traveled. Okay, don't mind me. And then you just want to chop it up. Depending on what has been on my cutting board, yes, I will clean the cutting board, but it's either been cheese or herbs or something like this, and it works well with the dish, so that's why I'm not cleaning up my cutting board after every little thing. So we're just going to mix this in together. But I think the one thing I will add to this maybe a little pepper. And because I've already salted the tomatoes, you know, getting them ready for this, I'm not going to salt them again before I bake it. So, okay, this is done. Lemon. I don't know. To me, tomatoes, a little lemon zest, it brightens everything up. So how much? I guess what I do is I just do 1 round of lemon zest around the lemon. So could be half a teaspoon. Oh, I forgot garlic. See, that's why I like everything right in front of me, you guys, because I look around and I'm like, okay, garlic, you forgot garlic, Aim. And I like garlic on everything. Now what you could do, you could lay as thin of a slices as you can just underneath your tomatoes. But I'm going to decide to cut up 1 garlic clove, chopped up, minced, whatever, and put it in with the cheese mixture because the tomatoes lay right on top of it. So I'm hoping on this crostata you'll get layers. You'll get this cheese, you'll get the flavors of the herbs, the garlic, and then you've got those great tomatoes. So all the tomatoes I'm using did come from the farmer's market. The only tomato plant that I have out in my herb garden is cherry tomatoes. Okay, you guys, a couple of things I just want to clarify because I might have not said the complete thing. I used apple cider, it's not apple cider juice or anything like that. I used apple cider vinegar when I was making the dough, the pie crust, the dough for the pie crust. The other thing is I keep interchanging tomato galette or tomato crostata. To tell you the truth, I'm debating what word I like best because they say the same thing, but differently. So anyway, just look at the recipe. And that's the other thing I want to tell you guys. Sometimes when I make these recipes, I'm making a different version than the written recipe just because I'm making a smaller portion or something of that sort. So look at the video. I love it because I'm hoping that they're fun and everything, but definitely go to the recipe to get exact, especially if it contradicts what the video says. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to roll out this dough, but I'm going to use it on parchment paper because parchment paper with the dough is going to go onto like a cookie sheet to bake. Because we're not doing it in a pie crust or anything, but you want it nice and round. Or, I don't know, mine never turn out completely round. So I am just going to layer the cheese mixture on this crostata galette. You know what, I should really take a poll. What do you guys want me to call this? Okay, I think that's enough. Now we're gonna layer these. And we're gonna hope for the best. How about that, you guys? Look at how ripe they are. They're just like falling apart. And I cut the tomatoes, I don't know, maybe 1/4 of an inch. You don't want them too thick because it'll just take that much longer to cook. But, you know, that's okay. But about 1/4 of an inch. And I probably have about 2 tomatoes here. Could be 3. Could be 3, you guys. I can't remember. And all you do is, you know what I should have done? I probably should have floured. Then you're just going to roll it up. And it's okay if it overlaps. Just make sure you pinch in those sides. Just going to try and get them way to the very edge of the tomato because you don't want a lot of room. See, there you go. Easy peasy, you guys. And I forgot my egg to do my egg wash, so we're going to go get that. Just had water in it. Lisa is behind the scenes, you guys, and she's looking at me like, okay, you just used a used bowl. It had the cold water in it from the pie crust. I still have to add water to this, so we're all good.
I just like the water flying into the sink portion.
But an egg wash, I mean, I'm sure many of you guys know, will you know, kind of brown your crust and make it all looking pretty. Okay. You know, to tell you the truth, I'm just looking at this dough. I'd probably back off on a little bit of the butter and just go with a half a cup, or back off on only 6 tablespoons of cold water, because my dough feels a little wet and I'm not sure why that is. I've done this so many times. Okay, so I've got my oven heated at 375 degrees. And I think I normally cook this for about 40 to 45 minutes. But because I want to give you guys the exact, so bake it for about 45 minutes, but definitely check in on it at about 40 minutes, just in case, depending on what your oven is doing, you're not, you know, it's not too brown. So there we go. Let's see what it looks like when it's done. 45 minutes later, I'll see you back here. Hey, I just took this out of the oven, the tomato galette. I think that is the consensus of what I should call this. Instead of crostini, we'll call it a tomato galette. But anyway, the crust looks wonderful. The tomatoes look like they're baked, and some of the cheese sauce came up on top. In fact, see? Some of the cheese stuff came up on top. So, in order to dress it up a little bit, guess what? We're just going to shave a little parm on here. We'll tear up a couple of fresh basil leaves. Give it that little freshness to it. And another thing that you could do to this dish as well, thinly slice some mozzarella on the bottom. Just drizzle with just a hint of olive oil, just a hint of salt. And then lay your tomatoes on top of that. So you're almost making a capri galette. Now, I have not tried that, but it seems like it's doable. But anyway, so here you go. Should I try it? Of course I should try it. I always have to try my food. Lisa, you want to taste a bite?
Sure, I'll step in.
There we go. Ooh, now these are ripe tomatoes, and the one thing about getting tomatoes from the farmer's market, there is so much more flavor. They are juicier. It's
oh
like,
my gosh, it smells so good.
yeah, I think it does. I think I put some herbs in here. Oh, I put the herbs in the cheese sauce. What you could do is put some herbs in the cheese sauce, ricotta cheese and cream cheese, but also you could sprinkle some of the herbs on top of the tomatoes so those get infused into the tomatoes as it cooks. Oh, some forks, huh?
Yes, please.
No matter how many times you try it, you bake these things, why do they seem to come out differently each and every time? Okay.
Delicious.
I still like it, huh?
Oh my gosh. The fresh tomato didn't fall apart. It almost tastes like fresh tomato sauce. Like, you know, when you just ripe tomatoes out of the garden. Oh my gosh. And the fresh basil on top.
Yeah. This is really good.
Garlic, cheese, and then the pie crust.
And I think when you use fresh tomatoes that are ripe, it puts a whole different spin on it than when you just use tomatoes from the grocery store. Because obviously they can't ship ripe tomatoes. They'd be destroyed before they even made it to the grocery store.
Completely different taste on those tomatoes.
You can find this recipe and so many more over at amyroloffslittlekitchen.com, or go to my YouTube channel. You can get the recipe and the videos there. I would so appreciate it if you subscribe and told a whole bunch of other people, because we're going to be doing a few more things there, you know, for you guys subscribers.
Yeah,
so anyway, this is tomato galette. Give it a try. And I'll see you over there at Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen, you too. Thank you so much for joining me, you guys. So from my kitchen to yours. Let's taste this again. Can we taste this again? This is pasta with a creamy pumpkin sauce and roasted hazelnuts. Oh, man. This is either so good or I'm so hungry.
Delicious, Amy.
Oh, you like it?
The hazelnut really brought an extra flavor.
Hi, I'm Amy, and we're back. We're in my little kitchen. Amy Roloff, by the way, just in case you guys didn't know. Anyway, I'm in my little kitchen, and my little kitchen, if you didn't know as well, is in my home. So, anyway, we're kind of, I'm not ready yet, but we're kind of slowly creeping into fall. And because, you know, I used to live on a farm, we did pumpkins, pumpkin season. I'm always trying to, you know, see about the subtleties of using pumpkin other than just something that's sweet. And a lot of times when you use your canned pumpkin or other recipes, it's really using butternut squash, tell you, because they're so similar. And you know, you get butternut squash in a grocery store lasting a lot longer and more available than you do an actual pumpkin. So I think that's one of the reasons why they use a lot of butternut squash more. But anyway, beside the point. So we are making pasta with a creamy pumpkin sauce, and why not throw in some roasted hazelnuts? So that's what we're making. And this is a great dish because you can have it by itself, serve it with a green salad, or add a protein to it. I think pork medallions would be great. Complement it with a little bit of sage and like a nice brown butter kind of wine sauce to it. Definitely chicken. Chicken will go well. You know, even fish, if you want to throw in fish with it, you know, or on the side, complementing it on the side. So anyway, we're going to make pasta with a creamy pumpkin sauce and roasted hazelnuts. So I've got my pasta water cooking over here. Definitely add enough salt in your pasta water because you're going to want some of that pasta water to incorporate in the sauce, but also that adds flavor and the pasta really soaks it in. But when you do that, be careful of what salt you are using in your dish because your pasta is already going to be salted too. I'm very salt self-conscious, I think. I love salt, but you can overdo it. So anyway, let's get going here. Where do I even start? First of all, we're going to add onions to it. I just have, you know, a sweet onion here. I already had a little bit of chopped up. Why don't I get a little bowl for this? But I need some more onions in here. This is not enough. This is barely a couple of tablespoons. So I want at least like a quarter of a cup, maybe a third of a cup. I don't want the onion to overpower the pumpkin. And the one thing I really like about pumpkin, it definitely has its own flavor, but it's kind of a neutral flavor. And it'll take on the other flavors that you put with it. So I don't want to overpower that rich, nice pumpkin. So we're just gonna, I'm not gonna finely chop this, but I just want them in small little chunks. I don't want large chunks of onion because we are going to somewhat puree this. Now, if you guys are used to making a sauce in a blender, go for it. I just think that's an extra set of and if you really want it puree, I think it's just an extra set of equipment for this very easy, simple dish. And so I just use my immersion blender because you can do it right there in the pot. I think I gotta get some butter out because if we're gonna have a sauce, let's use butter. And if you don't want to use butter, you can use olive oil too. So we have maybe, I don't know, this is about a quarter of a cup. So I would say definitely a third of a cup. We got about a third of a cup of onions chopped. I'm going to use 1 large clove of garlic. And this is pretty large, wouldn't you think? Sometimes they don't come that large when you buy them in the grocery store. But I'm going to let the onions cook a little bit before I add this garlic. So the one thing I don't want to happen, brown and burn the garlic because it just becomes bitter. And I didn't get fresh sage. I didn't plant a fresh sage pot or herb. That would have been really good. I think of that more with pork and beef and, you know, fall. But sage can go with a lot of stuff, even in the summertime. Okay, so I got my garlic. Gotta look at my cheat sheet. Okay, I'm going to add the garlic and the sage later. So I just have a little bit left over, but I would probably use at least a teaspoon of sage. I want that, you know, that herby, earthy flavor to it. So we're gonna head on over to my saucepan and start heating up that butter and sauteing the onions. Okay, so I just need a couple of tablespoons of butter. Well, really a tablespoon. I don't think you need a couple. Oh, about a tablespoon and a half. Probably too much, but. So about a tablespoon of butter, just to, or if you want to just drizzle olive oil in your saucepan, that'll work too. So then we'll just do our onions and our garlic, and then we'll add our sage, and we're getting ready to go. And you don't want to cook, you know, the onions too quick because you don't want them really brown. You just really want them a little bit translucent and soft. Of course, if you got them translucent, the onions will be soft. Okay, so this will take a few minutes to do. And in the meantime, my water is boiling for my pasta. And pasta, I think this, with this kind of pumpkin sauce, this will go well with penne pasta or orchetta. It's not quite like a shell pasta, but it's got kind of that little dip. And the one thing that works well, because the pumpkin sauce can kind of sit in the pasta, or it hangs on to the penne and may go into the center of it. I think this pappardelle is a nice noodle. It's not too heavy, but you know, if you wanted, you could use fettuccine. You know, you can use it with spaghetti, but I don't think that works as well. So anyway, this is about 8 ounces. I would recommend probably double this for the amount of sauce we're making, but so follow my recipe because I'm not making as much of this dish. I only used about a half of an onion, where I would use 1 onion, 2 cloves of garlic, about a couple of teaspoons of sage, and then we'll get to the sauce later because we use a whole can of pumpkin, but I'm going to use a little bit less, but a whole can of pumpkin, and then some cheese, obviously some cheese, mascarpone, or you can substitute cream cheese. Did I say that right, Lisa?
Mascarpone.
Mascarpone. Whenever I say that word, I think of the mafia. Isn't that terrible? Anyway, that's the name of it, mascarpone.
Like Al Capone?
Yeah, like Al Capone. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so mascarpone cheese. But if you don't have that cream cheese, most people have cream cheese. Cream cheese will work well too. A little bit of parm and stuff like that. So anyway, let's get that rolling. Oh yeah. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Okay, this has got a little bit more to go. I think that's it. Because once this is done, then we add the pumpkin. Then we get that all warmed up. Then we add the cheese, get that all mixed up. And this is the part where if you really insist on a very puree sauce, use your blender. But that's what I'm going to use. Yes! I'm going to use my immersion blender. I love this little tool. Okay, we're going to add in our little garlic. 1 whole garlic. We're going to let that saute for a little bit. Well, I tell you, if you guys could smell the garlic and onion, I mean,
It smells so
hello. Especially with that little bit of butter. Oh yeah. Okay, I probably would have added a couple of teaspoons. I don't have enough sage in here, but I'm just going to add what I have. And it's dried sage. Oh, so good. And one of the reasons why I didn't add salt right away to when I was sauteing the onions was because it draws out too much water, and I really wanted the butter to incorporate in with the onions and get that flavor. And so unsalted butter is probably better. And then, so yeah, anyway, what else? Oh, the pumpkin puree. So pumpkin puree. Ooh. So we're gonna warm up the pumpkin puree. Pumpkin was a little stiff than I thought, more stiff than I thought. Okay, the one thing I forgot to do over here, you guys, I forgot to shred or grate my Parmesan cheese. So we're going to do that right now. And then I'll add my, I'm choosing to use cream cheese because I couldn't find. The grocery store I went to didn't have mascarpone cheese. So this will probably be about 1/4 cup of Parm. I'm waiting for the noodles to be done because I want to incorporate some of that lovely pasta water into the sauce. And you will probably need at least 1 cup, if not more. And because this is like a ribbon noodle, you definitely want to make sure it's al dente. Look at that. I want it wrap around. Oh, there we go. Are we going? Oh, no, we're not. What? Okay. Well, the noodle is too hot, people. It's good. But it's not al dente. It's still a little too stiff. Okay, so we're going to go back over to the stove and finish up our sauce. So I've got the pumpkin in here. I drained my pasta. This is the pasta water. I took probably more than what I need, but it's always best to have more than what you need because after you drain the pasta, guess what? Even if you needed more, you can't get it back. So I'm definitely going to try and add about 1 cup. Well, I'll start off with 1/2 cup first. Turn my heat back on. We're just going to kind of mix in the cheese, get that all warmed up again. So this is what it looks like. You add a little bit of the pasta water. You're mixing in the onions and the garlic that you just got done sauteing with 1 can of pumpkin puree. And it really depends on how thick you want your sauce. But I'm going to go ahead and add in a little bit more pasta water because I mean, it's there, but I don't want it to be thick. I want it to be a little moist because when it's too thick, I think it adheres to the pasta, but then it becomes too dry. I'm just going to add a little bit more pasta water in here. And the thing is, pasta water has flavor, but it'll also help thicken it up. And then I add in about 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. Then I add in, I did cream cheese, but if you got mascarpone, feel free to add that. And this again is probably about 1/4 to 1/2 cup. I'm going to mix that in. And this also will help thicken your sauce. Now, if you so choose, and you want a puree, guess what? You can pour all of this stuff, and you'll probably have to do it in a couple of batches in your blender. However, I love this tool, my immersion blender. Look at this, man. Is this not easy? Much easier than a blender? And what I'm doing is really pureeing or really fine chopping or whatever you want to call it, the onions and the garlic. And we're just going to mix it in. Just make sure everything's mixed in. And to tell you the truth, I probably added a little bit too much pasta water, thinking I needed it, but I didn't. Because I probably added it before I used my immersion blender. So that's probably why I won't use so much sauce. So anyway, pasta. And see how the pasta will absorb the sauce? Pasta will absorb the sauce. So I'm just going to do this a little bit at a time because I think I did make my sauce too runny. That's okay. My motto is, every little thing gonna be alright. Oh, look at that. See, the pasta just absorbs this sauce. See? A little bit more. So here we go. We've got pasta with a nice, mellow, but very flavorful pumpkin, a creamy pumpkin sauce. And before I do all the herbs and stuff like that, I am going to put in just a little bit of thyme, not too much. Thyme can be very powerful depending on the dish. Obviously in a rich tomato sauce, you know, it works well. But for something like this, this pumpkin sauce is kind of like soft, you don't want the thyme to overpower it. So I'm just doing like 3 little small sprigs of thyme. And then we're just gonna chop in a little bit of chives. But I wanna use the rest of it for garnish. And you can leave it all in one pot. Depends on if you're making this into one meal, or this could be a side dish too, like I said. I'm just gonna, I should probably use a fork and make this all pretty. Twirl it around. Whoa. I told you this pappardelle is like ribbons, nice little ribbons of pasta. If I was a food stylist, I'd probably get a nice little wet piece of paper towel and clean that up over there. But hey, this is Amy's cooking show. And we're gonna just do a little more chives. First of all, we're gonna do a little more, we're just gonna grate a little bit of parm over here. I have made a sauce like this years ago, and I can't even find my own recipe for it, so I, you know, kind of modifying this one. Okay, there you go, people. Does this not look good or what? Huh? Okay, I'm ready to eat. Can we eat? Let's eat. Lisa, you want to come over here and eat with me?
Yes, I'm ready.
Let's take a bite.
Okay.
We'll take a bite in all this mess.
Okay.
Okay. I cannot wait. Now you tell me if I should have added more salt or something.
It looks amazing. Okay, I'm trying to be nice and twirl.
Mmm. The thing I love about this sauce is all the ingredients that are in it complement the pumpkin. And so there's nothing that really overpowers it, unless you want it to. But I really taste the pumpkin flavor over this.
Delicious.
So anyway, of course I forget some. Lisa reminds me, but I forgot some. This is a key element to this. It's a nice little garnish. I went ahead and, yeah, you want to show that? I went ahead and roasted hazelnuts already.
Hazelnuts.
You can put these in the oven. And the one thing that's good about the oven is you can, you know, do a lot more and just take off the brown skin on them. But if you want the brown skin, but no, you don't want the brown skin in your food. Especially when you roast them like this and they all come off. And if they don't come off, they'll probably come off when you're chopping them up. But anyway, I went ahead and roasted these in the oven, and I put my oven on roast. I probably took maybe about, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. Oh. I just put them in a little baggie, and I'm going to crush up a little bit. Because you don't want big, huge chunks. But you just want enough just to be complementing the dish.
Extra flavor.
A little flavor and a little bit of crunch. Okay, well, there's some big pieces in here, but yeah.
That's okay. Ooh. And it just kind of finishes the dish.
It does. Let's taste this again. Can we taste this again? This is pasta with a creamy pumpkin sauce and roasted hazelnuts. Oh, man. This is either so good or I'm so hungry.
Delicious.
Don't you like it?
The hazelnut really brought an extra flavor.
And texture. Okay. Well, you guys, you know what?
This. Wow. Fun.
Can we just keep eating in front of you? I don't know.
You have pasta on your lip.
I know. That's why I love wearing an apron, you guys. And sometimes, instead of adding more salt to your pasta, the Parmesan cheese has a lot of salt in it too. Just add a little bit extra as a garnish to your pasta, and that'll incorporate some of that saltiness. But
yeah,
I love it.
Delicious.
Love it. And I hope you give this a try. So check out Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen on my YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Or you can always go to amyrolofflittlekitchen.com.
Yep.
But you'll find this recipe and all the other recipes that I'm doing
So good.
over on my YouTube channel. But I will repeat, always follow the recipe. I sometimes don't always get it right on my video, so I so apologize to this. Today I've got some extra people helping me do these videos, but typically it is just me, and I just forget. So anyway, check it out, Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen. I hope you give this a try.
Yummy.
All right.
Thanks, friends.